1971 to 1974. Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Trawler.
Game 143, Royals at Phillies. Welcome back, baseball fans. 1971-74 Carryover League. We've got another inter-league battle tonight between Kansas City Royals and the Phillies. And I always have been picking when we get a World Series replay, as that will happen randomly. And we get one here. The Royals and Phillies, and plus there's a lot to talk about with certain players here. Royals and Phillies met in 1980 in the World Series, and the Phillies won. And they were led by each team's star third base MVP, George Brett and Mike Schmidt. And of course, in this year, we have just drafted into our league George Brett's 1974 card for the Royals and Mike Schmidt's 1974 card for the Phillies. And both guys are batting 7th today in their rookie campaigns. So there's a little bit of history here. These guys meeting for their very first time 7 years before they would in the Fall Classic. Well, actually, they've already met in Game 1. Let's go take a look at that. Game 1, the series opens in Kansas City. It's a best of 3. Kansas City has games 1 and 3 if necessary. But in Game 1, it is Steve Carlton versus Paul Splitorf, and it is all Phillies. A 2-run double by Bob Boone, 2-zip. Sac fly by Maddox, and then they really poured on late. They get 6 runs off of Splitorf and a couple relievers. Meanwhile, lefty is cruising. Steve Carlton, 6-hitter, no walks, 9 strikeouts. CGSO for Steve Carlton, one of his 27 victories in 72. And the Phillies get a road win in an interleague series, very important. And they like to win this thing 2-0, win at home. Just win this home game in front of the home fans and be up 2-0, end the series, and then suddenly the National League East is suddenly interesting, and the Phillies have a chance to go to the playoffs. A team that was in last place a year ago, but you know, they've got some nice pieces. They got Gary Maddox away from the Giants, was a nice piece to add. They got a great starting rotation. They got Pat Dobson, 20-game winner, away from the Orioles. That was a nice add. Good closer. Joe Horner. And Kansas City, you know, they are actually doing pretty well also. They're in first place in a pretty watered-down American League Midwest where none of the other teams are playing very well. You could say the Royals aren't either, but that's another story, I guess. But anyway, today we have a game between Mike Heedland. He gets the start for the Royals. Heedland, 15-game winner in 71 for Kansas City in 206 innings. Unfortunately for Mike, he would not stick around long enough to see the prosperity the Royals enjoyed in the middle of the decade. That's a shame for him. For Philadelphia, it's Wayne Twitchell. Similarly, he would not be around to enjoy a lot of the success the Phillies had in the latter part of the decade. But in 73, Twitchell has arguably his best year. 13-9 with a .250 ERA in 223 innings. From the vet in Philadelphia, Royals, Phillies. Let's get started. Leading off for the Royals is the Reverend Pat Kelly. 1-7's a base hit. B. Steeler, Amos Otis is going to hit and run. And the hit and run is the role of a 7-runner has to steal. The stealing result is a 13. He's a 13. What's the catcher's arm? 0. It means he's out stealing. Being held on. He's cut down. So now Amos Otis, who swung through the hit and run, has to bat now. 46 is a strikeout. And with 2 outs, it's Ed Kirkpatrick. 56, another strikeout. Good start for Twitchell after the single. Bottom of 1 in Philadelphia, it's Gary Maddox. 1-8 is a base hit for Gary. Ace Steeler. -2 arm Ed Kirkpatrick. He's going to stay put for the moment. Tony Taylor, 63, right X. Right field is Pat Kelly. He's a 43 in right field. And that is single dot dot. Runners on the corners for Tim McCarver. 311 is a 643 double A, 643 double play, plus injury. Well, that does a lot. Scores a run, gets McCarver out of the game, and clears the bases. Bob Boone will have to be plugged in that spot with McCarver getting hurt, running to first. And with 2 outs, it's Lazinski. 35 is a walk. Darren Johnson, 54 center X. Amos Otis a 186 in center field. And the inning's over. Top of 2, it's Bob Oliver. 2-6, rolls a short. John Mayberry, 39. Same thing. And Lou Piniella, 2-5. Same thing. Busy inning for Larry Boa. Made all the outs. John Callison, 210, rolls to the pitcher. And here he is. Let's take a look of the Phillies. Third baseman Mike Schmidt. The symmetry with him and Brett is really kind of astonishing. I talked about the 80 World Series, the MVPs. I picked both guys in the same draft. Both players hit 282. Both players are 2 E26 defensively at third base. Beyond that, Schmidt hits 36 home runs. George Brett would hit 2. But don't worry, Schmidt's also 3 years older and stronger. So I'll take a little bit for Brett to get the power. But I'll get a batting title that Schmidt will not. So the pitch to Mike Schmidt, 35 is a walk. A stealer. And Larry Bowa's going to hit and run. Hit and run, moves the runner up. Runner at second for Denny Doyle. 56, flies away. Okay, we go to the third. And here he is. Let's take a look now at George Brett. Looks familiar, doesn't it? Well, you take away the home runs, he's got the same template. He's an MVP. He's a 282 hitter. It's rather kind of crazy how Brett and Schmidt would be linked. But he's batting 7th as he's not a 300 hitter yet. We'll probably swap this card out in the next year or two when he's your perennial 300 hitter for the Royals. But this is the debut cards. We just wanted to get him into the league. So here's George Brett leading off in the third. 56 is a strikeout. Fred Patek, 64, off of Twitchell, homer 1-3 double, 2 base hit. Batting 9th, Cookie Rojas, 1-7 rolls to third. And with 2 outs, it's Pat Kelly. 3-11 rolls to third. Bottom of the third, it's Gary Maddox. 3-6, single 1-12, lines out. Tony Taylor, 2-7, base hit. Bob Boone in here for the injured McCarver. He's going to do a little hit and run action here. Phil's like to do that sort of thing and do it a lot. But he pops out. And with 2 outs, it's Greg the Bull Luzinski. 1-6, let's take a look at the Bull. Greg Luzinski, very young, to play first and the outfield here. 281 hitter, 18 home runs and 600 plate appearances. 1-6, homer on a 1 double. It's going to be a double to center field. Taylor, 15, this is going to be close. 16-17, but you got a -4 arm of Amos Otis. If this was a road game, he'd be flagged down at third base, as that's a 13, and my road 13 runners do not run. They get held up by the third base coach. But we're at home, and I'm going to try it. Tony Taylor going to try and score off the great arm of Amos Otis here on a 13. Here's the play at the plate. And it is a 10, and Tony Taylor scores. 2-0 Phillies. Darren Johnson, 2-8, single 1-9, and he lines out on a 12. We go to the fourth. Amos Otis, 48, strikes out. Ed Kirkpatrick, 1-9's a walk. Bob Oliver, 5-10, catcher's card. Boone, 3-5. That's a ground ball C. Runner at second with 2 outs for John Mayberry. Rolls with the pitcher. Bottom of the fourth. Johnny Callison, 37 for Johnny, is a base hit. And here's Schmidt. 65 off Heedland, pops to first. Larry Boa, 34, pops to short. And with 2 outs, it's Denny Doyle. 2-10 rolls to the pitcher. We go to the 5th. The 2-0 game. It's Sweet Lou Piniella. 35, base hit. And George Brett. 39 for Brett, line is a short. Fred Patek, 310. Sky's the center field. And with 2 outs, it's Cookie Rojas. 2-8 is a base hit to left field. Piniella will just hold at second. Doesn't want to make the 3rd out at 3rd. So with 2 on and 2 outs, it's Pat Kelly, the leadoff man. 3-6 is ball 4. The bases are loaded with 2 outs, and it is Amos Otis. Let's take a look at Amos. A1, A- for arm in center field. He used to be a AA stealer. He's just a B stealer now, but he's a 17 runner, can hit and run, destroys lefties, and just kind of okay against righties. Good enough against righties, but boy, he destroys lefties, doesn't he? Bases loaded, 2 outs. The pitch to Amos Otis. 69, Twitchell walks him, and walks in a run and blows the shutout in the process. Bases are loaded still with 2 outs, and it's Ed Kirkpatrick. 2-4, rolls to shortstop. Stretch time. Well, not stretch time. Bottom of the 5th time. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Okay, bottom of the 5th in a 2-1 game in Philadelphia. It'll be Gary Maddox. 6'10 catcher's card. Ed Kirkpatrick's 3E9 catcher. And it's a foul out. Tony Taylor, 38's a base hit. Last time up, Boone hit and run. It didn't work. He's going to do it again anyway. Okay, he's going to do it until he gets it right. Hit and run. Moves the runner up. So now Taylor's at second with 2 outs for Luzinski. Luzinski 4-4 off Heedlin is 3rd X. This is the 2E26 Brett. And it's a single dot off Brett that will put guys on the corners with 2 outs for Darren Johnson. 4-4, 3rd X again, same result. We've already got it plugged in, 2E26, but it's a ground ball C. So Brett makes the nice clutch defensive play here, preventing a run from scoring. Nice play there for Brett. Nice game. 2-1 into the 6th we go. It's Bob Oliver. 2-3, rolls to short. John Mayberry, 3-11, flies to center. Lou Piniella, 1-5. Let's take a look at Sweet Lou Piniella's 1972 Kansas City card. A 312 hitter. They got him in the expansion year of 69 and ran him all the way through 72. He was great all 4 years. And eventually we know he ends up being traded to the Yankees. But boy, he really played well for the Royals in this time. 1-5 homer, 1-12 double. Misses the homer. It's a 2-base hit. And with a runner at second and 2 outs, it's George Brett. Clutch plate appearance here. Pitch to George. 46 off Twitchell is a K. Bottom of the 6th. Nice game. 2-1. It's John Callison. 1-8 flies to center. Mike Schmidt. 2-7 is a walk. A Steeler Boa. He's going to hit and run. They're going to keep doing this until they get a single. Hit and run, roll of a 7 means you have to steal. Steal is a 14 result, but Schmidt is an A stealer, but he's being held on, and a -2 arm catcher means he's cut down stealing. So the teams have been trying to do this track stuff, and it has not worked today. No hits and no stolen bases in this encounter. So with 2 outs now, it's still Larry Boa, because Schmidt got thrown out stealing on the missed hit and run. 59 flies to left. Well, both pitchers have benefited from teams trying to do the hit and run today and steal bases and having it backfired. And that's why we have a 2-1 game into the 7th. Twitchell's a starter 8, Heedlin's a starter 7. As far as the bullpens go, the Phillies is much better. Joe Horner, Fred Glanning, Max Scarce, Jerry Johnson. Kansas City's got Doug Bird, but their other 3 guys are kind of meh. Really young Larry Gura, Horatio Pena, and Rich Hinton. Here we are in the top of the 7th, a 1-run game. It'll be Fred Patek. 2-6 for Fred as a roller to short. Cookie Rojas, 1-8 is a roller to short. And with 2 outs. How many assists is that for Boa today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pat Kelly, 59, second X. Denny Doyle, 2E14, second baseman, makes the play. Stretch time here in Philadelphia. Rather an interesting choice today. We are enjoying Graham Bond Organization, 1962-63. Right after Ginger Baker got out of the jazz clubs and was hanging out with Jack Bruce before they started Cream. They put this thing together. And pretty cool stuff from the Graham Bond Organization. There you go. Live at Kluke's Cleek. All right. Bottom of the 7th. It'll be Denny Doyle. 56 flies to right. Gary Maddox. 1-6 triple and a 10 doubles a triple. The infield will come up for Tony Taylor. 66 short X Patek. 2E27 at short, but that is an error on Patek. That'll score Maddox. Runner at first, 1 out, and you guessed it, Boone's will try another hit and run. This one's a fielder's choice. All 3 possibilities: move the runner up, fielder's choice, and a pop out. 2 outs now. Ray Glasinski. 410 off the Heedland card. Homer 1-3, fly ball left, and he misses it and flies to left field. 3-1 game. Let's turn this down a little bit. Ginger Baker doing the drum solo. Gotta love it. Graham Bond. Okay. Back to the game. It's 3-1, 7 innings in the books, 2-run lead, 6 outs to get. Defensively for the Phillies, they're going to just plug Roy Foster in there for Boa. He's a slightly better defensively with a nice arm, throwing arm, -2 throwing arm. That is it as far as the changes go. Terry Harmon isn't really necessary. They got enough defense otherwise. Twitchell goes back out there for the 8th inning. They're going to watch this guy carefully because he has a tendency to walk batters, and you got a great bullpen, and you just need 6 outs to get for a series sweep. So in the top of the 8th, it'll be Amos Otis. 2-6, single 1-18, and he gets it. And this will be Ed Kirkpatrick. Do you hook? They're going to do it. They're poking Twitchell right now. 7 innings and a batter. That was it. They want to get in this bullpen, and they're going to go. Max Scarce is going to come on in. See if they can get some of these lefties out of the lineup, like Kirkpatrick, Mayberry, or possibly even Brett. So Max Scarce is going to come on in the 8th. The tie run walking into the batter's box. Scarce for the 73 Phillies had a 2.41 ERA, but showed the growing pains with a 1-8 record. So maybe statistically he would have been good, but played in a lot of losing games. So hopefully it doesn't happen here for the Phillies. Ed Kirkpatrick, he's going to swing away. He's not intimidated by being a left-handed pitcher out there. A little bit less power, but he gets on a lot. So Kirkpatrick will swing away. Here's the pitch. 1-9 is a walk. It's a walk lefty-righty. So the Royals have the tie runners on in the 8th. And it's Bob Oliver. Let's take a look at Bob. Bob Oliver was an Angel in 72, but was a Royal prior to that. Actually had 20 home runs in 72. And he represents the lead run right here. Playing back for a double play. Scarce will pitch to Bob Oliver. 68 off Scarce is a K. Now you got John Mayberry. Let's take a look at him. Again, these Royals, they're pretty symmetrical, and then actually sometimes even better against lefties, like John Mayberry. He doesn't mind a lefty in the game. It's plenty of taters against lefties. So with first and second and 1 out, here's the pitch to John Mayberry. 45 off Scarce is double 1-2, single ... We got a 1-run game. Runners on the corners with 1 out, and it's Lou Piniella. The infield is going to come up to prevent the tie run from scoring. Lou Piniella, runners on the corners and 1 out. Here's the pitch. 35 is a clean single dot, and their Royals have tied this game. Scarce blows it. So now Brett will stick around here with 2 on and 1 out. He'll swing away against Scarce. 5'11 is second X, but that's Denny Doyle, a 2E14 second baseman, and he makes an error at the worst time. 2E14 second baseman with what should have been an ending double play, loads the bases for the Royals. And you got Fred Patek in there. And Abe Bunter have to bring the infield up. Scarce has been awful. But they are going to go to Fred Gladding. So only 1 out recorded by Scarce. He would be the pitcher of record if the Royals come back and take a lead here. Gladding comes on in the 8th with only 1 out on the board. And face Freddie Patek. Let me give you Gladding's stats. Gladding was 5-6 with a 2.76 ERA for the Phillies in 49 innings. So Fred Patek, the infield has come up in a tie game. Here's the pitch. 4-10 is a pop to second base off of Gladding, and with 2 outs, it's Cookie Rojas. Now you could get clever if you're the Royals and go with the lefty Popovich as another second baseman, and also a left-handed hitting second baseman off of Fred Gladding. They're going to do that. The problem with the Phillies is you don't really have... Popovich is better against... Let's take a look at Popovich. He's better against lefties, but he's a switch hitter. And the bases are loaded, and Gladding gets up hits on his card. It doesn't matter. They're going to pitch to him. Popovich, pinch hitting for Rojas here with the bases loaded and 2 outs. The pitch. 1-6 is a grounder to short. Would have been an out for Rojas as well. Well, we have a tie game. Nice game here in Philadelphia, a 3-3 game. Mike Heelan has given you 7 good innings. He's a starter 7, but he's not in danger of breaking. He didn't put enough guys on in the 7th, so he will continue. In the bottom of the 8th, it will be Darren Johnson. 33 rolls the 3rd. John Callison. 1-7 pops the 3rd, and with 2 outs, it is Mike Schmidt, who has plenty of homers this year already in his young rookie campaign. Not rookie, second-year campaign. The pitch to Mike Schmidt. 1-9 is a K. We go to the 9th. We have a lefty, righty, lefty. I think we'll leave Gladding. There's a relief too. This thing could go long. This is in a tie game. We could be here all night for an extra inning. So he will continue. Pat Kelly. 37 is a walk. Amos Otis. Guess what he's going to do? A hit and run. Rolls a 7. Has to steal a base. But he rolls a 2 and does steal a base. And he gets the T rating for boom. 1-6. He gets it on a 4. It works perfectly. Well, he swings through it. But anyway, Pat Kelly steals second base. The ball goes into center field. Kelly stands up at third where there's nobody out. Now the infield comes up for Amos Otis. 68 pops to second base. Now you got Kirkpatrick. You could put him on, setting up the double play for Bob Oliver and playing the infield back. That's what they're going to do. They're going to intentionally walk Kirkpatrick in a 3-3 tie, putting runners at first and third to face the righty Oliver with no lefties on the bench, and hope you get a double play as Gladding dominates righties, and Oliver's not that great against righties either. So they're going to play back, looking for a double play. Here's the pitch to Bob Oliver. 45, it doesn't matter because you hit the few hits on Gladding's card. That's a clean single to center field. Kirkpatrick will hold at second base. And the Royals take a 4-3 lead. That will also break Fred Gladding. So you've got first and second with 1 out. And Horner will come in now to try and keep it a 1-run game in the 9th. Joe Horner, the closer. 4-5 with a 197 ERA and 73 innings for the 71 Phillies. He will face John Mayberry. The pitch to Mayberry. 45 again. Homer 1-11 off the Horner card. It is gone, and the Royals dominating the last few innings of this game. A 3-run homer, and they take a 7-3 lead. Wow. Lou Piniella, 1-8. That's a base hit. Brett's going to bat. 5-11. Second X. This is, the 2E14 second baseman. And this time, there's your double play. Well, a little bit too late there, Danny Doyle. There's your double play, though. We could have used that in the 8th inning. We get it in the 9th, but it's 7-3. Heedland will leave after 8. Doug Bird will come on in for the 9th. Is there any defense he can bring in? Yeah, Al Cowens will come in to play right field for Pat Kelly. Bottom of the 9th, Bird. It'll be Larry Boa. 65, short X. This is Patek. He's still in there. 2E27. A base hit off Patek's card. Denny Doyle. 68 is a sky to center field. Gary Maddox. 5'10 catcher's card, but Kirkpatrick's still in there. 3E9 catcher. You need to get an error if you can. Cannot pass ball. And with 2 outs, and a very disappointed crowd in the vet. Tony Taylor, 1-6, rolls to short. That's your game. And the Royals have come back with 6 runs in the last 2 frames to beat the Phillies 7-4. Rather disappointing work by the Philly bullpen. So old Wayne Twitchell gave up a leadoff single in the 8th, and they bailed out on him, and then the rest of the relievers were all pretty bad. All right. Series tied, a game apiece, so we will have a game 3 back in Kansas City, and we'll give you the results of that at the end of the video. We'll put the box here together. Joe Horner gave up a 2 hits and a run. Fred Gladding gave up a hit, 3 runs and 2 walks. And then also in the 8th inning, he got Patek out. And Scarce came on and gave up 2 hits, a run, a walk, and a K. And Scarce does get charged. Oh, it was a tie game. That's right. So Gladding gets the loss. Yeah, because it was a 3-3 game until the 9th inning, and Bob Oliver gave them the lead. So Gladding is the loser there. And Doug Bird gets the save. Twitch only gave up 2 runs in this game. 3 walks and 5 strikeouts. Bird gave up a hit and getting a save. 8 strong innings for Mike Heelan on the road. 8 hits and 3 runs. Only 2 were earned. 3 walks and a strikeout. 1019, 0109, 71139. 71139, 663131, 66. So both teams were in last place in their division a year ago, and we'll look at the composite box and see the improvement here. And they've done a nice job turning around the woes of a year ago. It helps that the other teams in your division aren't doing that well. The White Sox, Brewers, and Twins all struggling. So Kansas City's the only team playing respectably in that division. And the Mets are kind of having a meh kind of year. Braves are tearing it up. Who knows about Florida, the National League East. So we have the Phillies at 7-5, which is fantastic for the worst team in baseball a year ago. They only won 11 games last year. They got 7 already. 7-5, hitting .292 with a .380 ERA. All that is very nice. Good work for the Phillies. Shame they couldn't get the series win, though, in that game. And Mike Schmidt has 6 home runs. Not in this series. He doesn't have any in this, but 6 homers in 12 games overall, which is fantastic. And your Kansas City Royals, they're 7-6, hitting .302 as a club with a .396 ERA. Heedland got that victory and is now 3-1 in 29 innings, giving up just 11 runs. Doug Bird, 5 saves in 5 innings, Only give up 1 run all year. Not a lot of power for the Royals. John Mayberry, you saw hit a home run. He leads the club with 4. And not bad, folks. Good competitive baseball by these two teams. A lot better than a year ago. We have played 143 games thus far. The league's hitting .256, a .320 on base, a .342 ERA, and a .137 WHIP. That's it. We'll give you the results of Game 3 in Kansas City when we come back. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time. Well, baseball fans, here's your box score for Game 2. The Kansas City comeback win, 7-3, evening the series at a game apiece. So, in Game 3, will the Royals get their revenge for the 1980 World Series loss to the Phillies at home in a Game 3? And the answer is, well, they kind of do. They win it. They win this game 4-2, and guess what, folks? The Royals are lucky. They're getting the lucky breaks this year, and that's all you need sometimes in Strat. You can run lucky breaks, as you just saw in the game you witnessed in the top of the 8th and 9th. Pretty much the same kind of game here. Solo homer from a Carver, 1-0 Phillies. Bottom of the 3rd for Pat Dobson, the 20-game winner they acquired from the Orioles. Out. With 2 outs, Amos Otis hits a ground ball to Darren Johnson, and 2-11 at first base. It's an error. Then Ed Kirkpatrick hits a ground ball to Mike Schmidt, who's a 2 at third base, and it's a single. And then after a single, a double, and a walk, it is 3-1 Philadelphia. Stays that way into the 7th inning, a solo homer for Amos Otis. It is 4-1. In the 8th inning, the Phils get an RBI single by Bo to make it 4-2. Rich Hinton comes in relief of Marty Patton and gets out of the 8th inning, and Doug Berg gets the final at for the save. Your Kansas City Royals have won Game 3 after winning Game 2 on the road, win this series 2-1, and get a little bit of revenge from the 1980 World Series. So that's it. Congratulations to the Royals. They take 2 out of 3. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.